Boop. All right, and we are back. How y'all doing?
Everybody's
Everybody
doing fine
good?
over here.
That's good. Today's show is going to actually be a really, really interesting one. Something that I want to talk about for a while, but now that we got the panel, we can dig a little bit deeper into it. But first, I'm going to ask her, how is everybody doing? What's up with y'all?
Doing good, man. Just
But
maintaining, waiting for the next show.
Is it snowing in Jersey?
Nah, it's not. It's not snowing in Jersey, man. We all good here. But let me just show you something though. I had to get me a new pair, man. And I know you know all about this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had to get a new pair though. Yeah.
Probably got like 8 pair, man.
But they only last what, like maybe what, a year? I mean you use yours like 24/7. So how long do they actually last?
I had a pair since I was in barber school, 2002. That's how long I had them. Only thing you do, keep them oiled and change your blades, and they run.
oh, that's good.
All right.
So nah, you don't have to. You don't have to. It's like buying a whole new car when you don't have to. When you can just change certain parts and you good. So
Right.
those, if you change the blades and oil them, you pretty much good and clean them out every now and then, and the motor would be just fine. So yeah, I
I got
had
another
clippers.
pair, but they get a little they starting to like get too sharp. When they start getting sharp and start hurting you, it's
I
Well,
like
you
have
they
just
start
clippers, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you just have to adjust the blade when it's like that, because those blades could be adjusted. So when you get the right setting, it won't bite you.
yeah, my
How's
they started messing my face up. But all right.
how's the weather in Florida?
It
Florida.
rained all day, but it's always nice. It's
What's
always
what's
nice
the
here.
temp? What's the temp like?
The temperature today was like low 70s.
Lucky man. Lucky.
Low 70s. And to some people, it's like really cold. So,
Hey, we getting 20s over here. We staying in the 20s and 30s over here. I actually like it though. It's giving me a vibe that I miss. So
The
let
twenties
it
and
be
thirties.
cold forever. Forever.
I
Shit.
love it when it's cold, but I don't think I would be able to. I would hear the old people say like, "Oh, it's too cold. I had to move and blah blah blah." But I don't think I'd be able to handle the cold anymore.
I just don't do extremes. I can deal with the cold or the hot. I just don't want it extremely cold, and I don't want it extremely
Extremely
hot.
hot.
I
That makes
can't. I
sense.
can't do that. Good movie to watch. Ice Piercer. When the people lived on the train because the planet froze. Yeah, y'all got to check that out. Ice Piercer. It's really, really a good one. But yeah, the whole planet froze over, and they built this train, and the train is like 1,000 cars long, and they built the entire ecosystem on the train. So all the poor people in the back eating bugs and whatever crap that they ship back there. All the rich people lived in the front. You really got to check it out. It's dope. It's dope. It's called Ice Piercer. No, Snow Piercer. My bad. Snow
I
Piercer.
man, put it on Netflix.
I don't know if it's on Netflix. They got an old one and then they got a new one. They just remade the old one. But you got to see the original. Don't watch the remake. It's dope, man. It's really good. It's really good.
That's so not out of the
Yeah, it's
okay.
crazy. But yeah, check it out. And you just see how it's weird because you feel sorry for the people in the back of the train. But when you look at the guy who designed the train before they did something to the planet and messed up the atmosphere. He explains how there needs to be a balance in the ecosystem of the planet, and without that balance, things just go awry. And if you watch the people fight their way from the back of the train to get to the front of the train, how it throws everything off, it's weird. But yeah, Snowpiercer, check that out. Today's topic, we're going to talk about trust. And is trust an illusion? We're going to get into that. And
Yes.
so, yeah, is trust an illusion? Is it a concept of the mind, or is it something that really does exist? So we're gonna get into that, and let's go ahead and get into our show.
Peace.
How did y'all like that?
That was dope. That was
That was nice.
I thought y'all to like that. Yeah.
Man, he can go to another planet when I seen that the cat with the tail on his back. I was like, oh, he's getting deep. Too deep.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I was working on that for a while, just trying to get it right and
That's dope.
have the right stuff so that people can be pulled in just by the imagery. But yeah, I'm glad y'all like that. So I worked on that, and I'll show y'all the other one for POD at the end of the show. I'll let y'all check that out, and we'll go from there.
Let's
But
go.
yeah, let's get into some current events that I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna share my screen too. And the first thing is I ran across an article last week, and it talked about China and them having a nuclear fusion reactor as
Sky thing, right?
a fake sun. They have
Yeah.
a fake sun.
I heard about that.
Um, let me see if I can pull this article up right quick.
Why, man? Wow. I don't know. Man. Some deep science right there, brother, man. When you making fake suns and stuff like that, it's either the world is about to really like go through some type of phase, or people just want power that bad where they want to convert the world into their own reality. You know? I don't know.
Everything's for a reason. Everything is for a reason. So
So yeah, that's the article right there. Wait a minute, where did it go? Yeah. So yeah, what y'all think about that? Them and I let's definitely look at the fact that China has they have an overpopulation issue, but at the same time they manufacture everything for the fucking world, and they have a really bad I guess smog issue. So they have a lot of shit in their atmosphere where it blocks out their sun. and that causes a lot of people to not be as healthy as they should be when you don't have proper sunlight. But yeah, I thought this was interesting that them having a fusion reactor. They said the thing was like, I forget how many times hotter than the actual sun itself.
How
But
can that be proven though? You know?
I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
crazy.
But when you look at some of the movies that are being made now, even with the new Matrix, well, let's go to the first Matrix. They tell you in the Matrix that man did something to the sky and they messed the atmosphere up in the real world. So when you look at the fact that a lot of these movies that are coming out now, it's always something where they did something to the atmosphere and messed it up, where people either
Right.
can't inhabit the surface of the planet, or the sun or the moon is just jacked up. It's just crazy. There's a movie that I watched a long time ago called Time Machine. Not the old one, but the new one, where the guy, he long story short, he got into the time machine and he hit his head on something and he hit the lever forward. And he didn't stop the machine and it kept going, but they showed all the changes that the earth went through and it was
Right.
just bugged out. And he got to a time where he got out of the time machine and he went over to, there was just chaos. And they were telling him it's martial law. You need to get off the streets. And they said something happened to the moon. They showed an image of the moon. They panned up with the camera, and the moon was like half of the moon was broken off, and it was falling like the earth, and it was just all jacked up. But the thing is, I think technology is good, but technology also can be man's downfall as they get too far into fucking with shit they don't need to fuck with. But this sun shit was just bugged out to me, like it's on a whole nother level.
It sure is. But how could you create something that strong anyway, man? That's a lot of technology to actually warm up a continent.
I thought
Well,
about that. I thought about that because when you really think about it, how could you if it's X amount of times hotter than the sun, how could you fire that shit up and check it out? Like, you know,
and what kind of
But
metals are you
what is the
using? Like, what
purpose
kind
of
of
that? Like,
material?
what's the purpose?
well, they said the purpose was actually for them to have a limitless power source.
So
I
going
mean,
back to what Pot said, because I started thinking like maybe, the fact that they have so much smog in the air and all of that stuff, like maybe that once you said it, like maybe that's it. But maybe it's what Pot said, like just power. They just want
It's like they want to consume everything that's natural and have control over it so they can control
right,
everything else. You know what I mean? Just
right,
like the food and everything else. They take away all the farms and everything and they control the world with their biofoods and all genetically, modified foods and all that stuff. So that gives them the power because they're the ones who's making that food. You know what I mean? So it gives them power. But at the same time, I always question everything anyway. So is it coming to a time where Earth and everything around it, is it what they say it is? You know what I mean? That's sometimes how I look at things too. Like once you start looking at things for all your, when you see, boo, boo, turn that down just a little bit for me. When we were born on this planet, we were taught that we have a sun, we have a moon, we have stars, we have a universe, all of this stuff. This is what we were taught. Everything that we speaking on was taught to us.
but
You know what I mean? So we actually, we kind of, that's a part of us. You know what I mean? So that's how we see it. But at the same time, kind of makes me see it in a lot of ways. Was that stuff? Is any of this really natural or is it man-made anyway? Is this just another way of showing us that to get away from the truth, they're just putting it out there as if they're just coming up with this stuff now? I'm not saying this, the sun's not real, and the sun is not the sun, but at the same time, it makes me,
it
I'm
makes you
always
think.
questioning.
It makes you
Yeah,
think.
like, was the sun ever the sun anyway? Or
I
you know, what I
think
mean, is it given out?
I I think you should question it all. And I think we're at a phase now where we're gonna get answers to all that shit because I think everything that the powers that be have built up to keep us from knowing shit like that, I think that's all falling apart right now. So I think the real history of the planet and man is going to be revealed very soon, because they, like I said, when the money goes away, when your money doesn't have value anymore, because most people keep secrets because you're paying them to shut up. But when you can't use the money for reasons like that, people give it up, man. They're gonna give it
Right.
up. But we're at the end of we're at the beginning of a cycle right now where everything shall be revealed. So I just think at this point,
Turn
you
it
know,
down.
that's a little insane. But the next thing I wanted to talk about, I'm gonna share my screen right quick. Yeah, I thought this was interesting, but definitely need to stay on top of that. Doop, doop, doop. Ha ha ha. I thought this was very interesting. It says Supreme Court blocks the old boy's jibby jab juice mandate for businesses. But here's the thing. The Supreme Court stepped in and shut down the whole shit, right? So, us people who are pro choice, we won, right? But at the same time, for anybody who is in the healthcare field, and it's funny because it's kind of tied to who accepts government insurance, they still have to follow the rules of the GB jab.
Wow.
But anybody else, any private corporation that, any job, they can't force it no more, is pretty much shut the hell down. The only thing that is just sad about this is you had people between a rock and a hard place where they had to make a decision to say, you know what, in order for me to keep my gig, I got to go ahead and get this, even though I don't want to. And here we are, you fast forward, a short period into the future, and it's like, damn, had I held out. But then it's like, you got a family to feed, you got bills, you got things you got to do. So it's like, it's just it's still a jacked up situation when you really look at it. But those who are able to hold out, it is what it is. But I think that's the universe basically making a call to say, hey, many are called, few are chosen.
And it's so
I,
funny because that was always the thing in the back of my head, like, damn, like, what if my job decides to push? Like, I've been so
Yeah.
lucky that, decides to push and expects everybody, like, mandatorily to,
Yeah.
like, what do you do? Yeah, I remember when Kaepernick took the knee, and everybody had such opinions about that. Like, like, it's easy to talk about what you would do or what you wouldn't do if you're not in a certain situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
indeed.
like, when it comes down to, like, the people that did get forced into, well, not even forced, because technically it's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Um, yeah, it is. It's definitely a choice. Like, the people that, not to lose their jobs, did the thing,
Yeah.
like, it sucks because you're kind of like, you have a family to feed, you have this, you have that, depending on your lifestyle, it depends on how bad you really
Yeah.
have to comply, I guess.
I
It
Yeah.
think they
sucks.
made. I think they met they got the amount of people that they needed. I think that's another reason why it's probably overruled in court and all that stuff. I think the experiment, whatever they was doing with people, I think they got the right amount of people that they needed, and I think that's one reason why it's probably done with in that way. I
I
just think
said
they
I
got
said the same exact thing. Maybe they met the quota.
yeah
And
the quota.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. When you look at the fact that, because it has so many different legs to it, if you meet your quota, your agenda still gets pulled off because we still got to deal with the aftermath of what may come down the road.
Right.
Right.
So if you talking, and I saw a report where it said, they got maybe 60%, maybe 70%. I don't know how true that is of the entire globe that got the candy, right?
Right.
So if it's a time situation, and yeah, we'll have to have, and the next thing I'm going to do is when we really start to talk about this, I'm going to have those shows recorded and we'll put those on a different platform where we can, you ain't got to worry about talking in code and all of that. We'll just put those over there where if people want to check them out, they can go over there. But yeah, I saw a report where it said that they had so many people, I'm talking about globally, that got the candy that whatever's going to happen, it's still going to be a catastrophic situation down the road, let
Right.
alone whatever they're going to give. I mean, yeah, whatever's going to happen down the road on so many different levels, we still got to deal with that. So maybe they
I
did meet
saw.
the quota.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. I saw today. Um, where I don't know how accurate it was, but I mean, it sounded accurate enough for me that pilots are like they're encouraging people not to fly. This is me summing it up.
Yeah.
They're encouraging like the pilots not to fly or people not to fly because apparently the people that have been vaccinated being on the airplane and flying at those
Yeah.
altitudes are causing blood clots
Yes, that's
Oh
true.
and
my
people are
God.
dying.
That's true.
Oh my God. You know what, man? That's sad. It's sad that you did all this stuff to people and you got these people defending your little your little stabby wabby. You know what I mean? And then all of this is going on, but people are still with it though, and that's the part that I just don't understand. Like, if it ain't working out doing natural things, if this thing is affecting you while you're just doing natural everyday things that you do, what makes it so great? You know what I mean? Like, if it's worse than just dealing with it naturally, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see it. I mean,
Well, that's
You
the
know,
thing. That's the thing about when you put the pieces together. You can get a consensus on what makes sense and what doesn't. And a lot of people haven't did that. They just kind of went along with the narrative. But that's the difference between you and what we call a normie. I call them normies. People classified as normal. The
right,
normies follow the script. But when you question the script, you're either going to stand back and observe before you make a move, or you're going to stand back and observe and don't do nothing, don't participate. So the normies, and it's funny now if you look at, because I kind of keep up with the information that's coming out. And one of the things that I'm noticing now that there's a lot of things that they're pulling back on now. There's a lot of things that they're allowing to be talked about freely. Things that us, if you want to classify us as conspiracy theorists, which is
right,
that's a coined term that
right,
the CIA came up with a long time ago, and we just use it like it's a real thing when actually it's not. But right now, the people who are conspiracy theorists slash conspiracy factists right now, because those people who are the theorists on conspiracies are winning right now when it comes to everything that's unfolded. We've been right going forward. We ain't lost
right,
one yet in
right,
this whole situation. So
right.
going forward, I just think that you just gotta question everything, because I'm noticing that all the rhetoric now is starting to change. Now they're saying, okay, the uh, the uh, the three-letter organization that was, sanctioned to look over this, they're at fault for something. And old boy who, sanctioned this, that, and the third and gave it out to the world, now he's at fault at something. It's almost like they're allowing now the floodgates of all the fault to be uncovered and us to see it. But I think all that's by design too.
Right.
But at the same time, to be fair, maybe this shit is unraveling at the seams. So it's two ways to look at it. They got an
hey,
agenda, or the shit's falling apart. Because you can't hold it up for so long, because people are just going to continue to poke holes in it.
well, I think you got to sell trust, like I think you got to sell trust. Like, okay, we're fixing it. We fixed the problem. It's sort of gains the momentum towards trusting the people who created this whole thing. Like
And
they
that's where
figure,
we go into what is
yeah,
trust.
Yeah, exactly.
right. So like, okay, I create a whole situation for you, and I know that it's wrong and everything, and then I'm gonna solve it and fix it at the end of the day when everything that I wanted out of it is now complete. Now I'm gonna be the savior at the same time.
I know
They
this
call
sounds so corny, but well, not even corny, but you know, when I think about how many people have took the candy, um it makes me think of like later on like a zombie apocalypse or some sort of
No, that's kind of what it is.
like the
well what
Walking Dead type of situation.
when we get into unpacking it a little bit more, because I got some articles and things that will validate what you just said.
Oh my God. Do
Yeah.
you know on that 3 letter thing that you were talking about that they have a preparedness? It's a
Yeah.
zombie apocalypse preparedness
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
thing. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get into that. I want to get into this next article too, that I thought was interesting. Let me share my screen right quick. I thought this one was a little very interesting. Y'all see that? When I saw it, I was like, okay. Turns out that NASA turns to religious scholars to prepare humanity for alien contact. So this is one article, but there was another article that I came across where NASA was picking priests and imams and people from different religious sects from around the world and getting them together to see how we as humanity would handle alien contact. And I thought it was interesting because religion runs the world. So
Right.
you're getting with the religious people to see how we're going to accept alien contact, which I think they already hear. You
Of
know,
course. Of course. I was
Maybe that has something to do with the blocking off certain things for a certain organism to be able to live on this planet.
well, go watch the X Files, the movie, not the series, but the movie. They lay it all out in there. Yeah, but and there's information that can validate some things that are preparing the current species on planet Earth for interfacing with something like that. And yeah, we'll definitely have to get into that because, like I said, some of the articles and things that I can pull out, it's a little heavy, and we want to be able to talk freely and not be, you know,
Restricted.
exactly. But yeah, I thought
Yeah.
this was interesting that they trying to get religious folk to come out because basically, if off-world entities show up, I guess they want to get with the religious folk to quell the questioning of how does this fit into our faith? Like, ain't you
they've
in this
been
book about?
showing up.
Yeah.
They've
So
been showing up and they're already here.
Yeah, they've been here a long time ago.
They've
They
been
just like
here. I
ready to
mean,
reveal everything.
I wish some of the people that I had conversations about aliens and those type of things. I wish some of these people would read this article.
yeah, I want to say what's up to Dave. David Pugh is in the chat. He actually
Hi,
put
Dave.
Yay.
he said well, I wouldn't be surprised since we are not the only living beings in the solar system, which is true.
That's
So
That
I
is
very
true.
true.
so I think what they're trying to do is because you got to understand, like, if you have a particular faith, that faith is going to chronicle the beginning of everything and the dissolution of everything. And if something occurs in your real reality that's not in that book at all, somebody has to be accountable for that. And I think that's what's going to happen if the normies get confronted with the fact that we're not alone, and they may present, one of these off-worlders to the world via TV, whatever. Still question everything, but I'm saying when you do this, something that you can't hide anymore, people gonna have questions, and sometimes people. You've seen all the movies when people something happens that's way left. Nobody has answers, and then there's that one religious person who takes that situation and intertwines it into religion and becomes a prophet, and
Right.
shit just gets real weird. Good movie. I don't know if you ever seen where the people get stuck in the grocery store. The Mist.
Yes.
Yes, that's scary. The mist kind of scary.
That is scary.
The Mist. And there was the religious lady, and it's always somebody who takes the situation and puts it into intertwines it with religion,
With religion.
and that becomes bad because you never know how that new ideology is going to turn on the followers if you don't agree with what's going on, and it's just kind of like Children of the Corn. Children of the Corn, classic.
Yeah, that's another
is a
great
classic.
classic.
Malachi and the kids and religion once again.
Religion.
A lot of things
So-
are being artificially created, and it seems like everything is being replaced. Food is being replaced artificially,
Yeah.
I mean, genetically, and the sun is being replaced the same way, and the moon is being eventually it'll be next or at the same
People-
damn time. But
People are being
people too,
replaced.
so
Yeah, that too.
maybe but maybe the illusion is no longer holding up. Maybe all of these things were always like that. That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes I think like maybe it was always like that. It's just that the illusion is falling apart. Like they can't hold up the illusion of
Right.
this all being natural and real.
That very well could be possible. That very
That
well
is
could be
a
possible.
thought for sure.
Yeah. But
But-
yeah, that's it for the current events, man. I thought they were very interesting. I
That
wanted to
is
bring them
hella
forward.
interesting.
For real. So yeah, let's get into the topic, man. The topic is trust. Is it an illusion? Is it a concept of the mind? And when I say trust, normally when people hear the word trust, they have a concept of what it is, and it typically only stems to maybe like a relationship or a marriage or something like that. But trust is much bigger than
So
how we relate between each other. Because when you look at things that we put trust in, most of the things that we put trust in, we don't really have a guaranteed outcome of the situation. Kind of like
Right.
faith, a little bit,
kind of weird, like
So it's
taking
like
a
a
chance.
belief.
Exactly. That's
But I
exactly what it
believe-
is. It's
believe
kind of
it
like
is-
a belief. Because
I believe. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. When
No,
you
I was saying,
when you look at and the reason why I said, is it a concept or is it something that governs officially? Like, here's my
Well,
take on it. I personally think that trust is a concept, a human concept that we created, and it's almost like a subscription. When you get a subscription, you sign up for some shit, right? And
Right.
with that subscription, you have an expectation of what you're gonna get.
right.
If that subscription falters in any way that you don't like, you just cancel that motherfucker. You don't. I don't want the subscription no more. I'm gonna cancel it. This is the type of trust that man has created for himself, and he doesn't even realize it. And he applies it to so many aspects in life. Let me give you an
Right.
example. You can trust that you're going to get a particular job. You can train for it, go to school for it, the whole nine. There is no guarantee that you are going to get that particular position. There's a high percentage, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get that position. You're trusting the process, and you signed up for
Right.
that subscription
Right.
because you have a certain expectation on what's going to be received at the end.
Right.
So is trust an illusion? Because there's
Illusion.
certain things that exist, whether you trust it or not, it is.
It's definitely an illusion, and the reason why it's an illusion is because everybody has limits, and trust can vary easily. So that, I mean, we can call it trust is more like how it has levels to it. Put it that way. You know what I mean? Like you trust some people to have your back. You trust some people to look out for you. You trust some people to make sure. You know what I mean? Like just you have trust on different levels. You know what I mean? But
It's a belief.
trust still it's a belief. It's definitely a belief. And I think we as Americans or humans, period, I think trust was put upon us just like love and all that other stuff. We overdo this. I mean, we turn it into a game thing. We start trusting people within 2 hours or within, you know what I mean? Like, I trust him because of this and that. I trust you. Ain't even look deep into the situation, even trying to throw your trust on anybody, to be honest with you. So it's like, I think we overdo it with the trust thing and we overdo it with the love thing. We overdo it with a lot of stuff. Like we just milk it real hard. And that's how we end up in these bad places. You know what I mean? And I feel like
What you
it
think,
was
Jay?
so,
She
I
bubbling
think
over there.
like
it was
yeah,
sold
because
to
this is like a really good topic.
it was sold to us to
I'm
trust. You know why it was sold to? Hold up. Why it was sold to us to trust? Damn. The dollar bill. The dollar bill actually says, "In God we
in God we
trust."
trust.
So, it goes to show you that it's all like I said, the American lifestyle, the global lifestyle is also a religion. If you sign up, like you said, you sign up to it, your trust can get you in deep waters in this motherfucker. You know what I mean? And some, expectations will melt as you walk this path. You know what I mean? Constantly,
Your
constantly.
expectations, so sometimes it's like a big letdown. See, I'm equating it to like where I was trying to make it make sense because it is a belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to overdo it, like how do you, I guess expectation would be like overdoing it. I was saying to myself, like, okay, if you have my own analogy would be like if you have a woman that's been like hurt and she's like all men are dogs. That's not my belief. Like so even though like, I haven't encountered any that haven't been, however,
Yeah.
I don't believe that they all men are dogs. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
like if you were to like meet if I was to like meet somebody, I would probably trust like that. Or if you showed up and they say, okay, this guy is I don't know how to explain this. This is
Well,
really this
Well. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When okay, you got trust in human beings, and then you got trust in the external world, persons, and not persons, but places and things. We trust places and things also, but we also trust human beings. I think the
yeah, you
trust
walk into
between
a grocery store, you trust that the building will hold up and won't collapse on you. You just
that's
walk
right.
in.
Faith.
exactly,
It's faith.
but
It's
but
faith then.
so
Right.
there's no guarantee that that building won't fall at
Right.
And
all.
nobody puts any thought into that. They just walk in. Like they just
Exactly. So trust, is
that
it an
is
illusion
bananas. This is really a
or
good
is it a
topic.
real thing that exists? And I
I
think
think it plays both parts. Go ahead, go ahead, Jay. Go, my bad.
I don't think well, something one of my teachers used to say all the time when I was going through one of my initiations, and
Maybe it's an
one of the
illusion.
levels of the aspirant or the student was, he used to always say that expectations lead to disappointment.
Yes,
Expectations lead to disappointment. He would always say that. And he
Right.
always would
I
say,
say it
never be
too.
in a state of expecting, be in a state of of openness. And as
Right.
it unfolds, it is what it is. But when you have an expectation,
You
especially
let
on,
down hard.
and his thing was, you got two guarantees in this dimension. One is that there will be babies being born, and there will be people transitioning out of this dimension. Those are two guarantees that you trust and believe, like religion, it's going to occur, regardless of how you feel about it. Anything in between is an illusion,
Right.
as he says.
And I always say that as well. Like as far as expectation, like you're setting your expectation is pretty much what your belief of what
Well,
you're
the thing
like
is,
what
you
you
let down your guard with with expectations. You know, you can be easily led into a trap if you
expectation leads
trust
to
where you jumping
disappointment.
into. You trust this cat gonna like when you fall backwards, somebody gonna fucking hold you. You know what I'm saying?
And I
You
don't
know,
think we should. I don't. And it's, this is me talking in a new
foreign ability. Go ahead.
a new paradigm of thinking, forward thinking, progressive thinking. I think there's a lot of things about our existence that needs to be upgraded going forward. We have
Right.
outdated methods of operation.
That's
That's
so true.
I just believe that to my core. There's shit that needs upgrading. We are upgradable. It's like computer software. We have to
That's very
upgrade this
true.
shit. But I think first, the word itself is the misnomer. That's number
Right.
one.
True.
I think we need to change that and rearrange it to some other shit. Trust is because it's something that's been embedded in our subconscious mind for so long. We think
Right.
it's real.
Right.
Trust between human beings is a subscription. You meet someone, you get to know them, and even in that knowing, that has limitations because we don't have the ability to pierce deep in people's minds to see.
Right.
There's just shit that you're just not gonna know. You know, but at the same time, I think that it's like a subscription. You sign up for some shit, and with that subscription in the fine print, this is what this person is supposed to be
Possibility.
offering.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, I can get with that. I can get with that. I can get with that. Let me sign up for this shit. And it's called the relationship. Let me sign up for this.
And guess what that leaves? Ultimate vulnerability. Makes you so vulnerable when you give up everything to
Well,
think
y-
something is
y-
going to go your way. It leaves you vulnerable. It leaves you actually, it's
it's
actually
not
giving
it's
up.
not going to leave you vulnerable, but anytime you sign a subscription, that in itself is being vulnerable. Because when you
Yeah.
sign up for some shit, you're giving a part of yourself over to the contract.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that
So,
in itself is you're opening yourself up to be vulnerable. It don't leave you vulnerable. You're actually participating in being vulnerable.
right.
Now,
So, go ahead.
it's all a mind thing because now in your mind, based on that subscription, that person is not supposed to do X, Y, and Z. That person is supposed to do X, Y, and Z. There's so many things and so many conditions within that subscription.
Conditions, stipulations,
Yeah.
expectations. Oh, oh my
All that shit
God.
is wrapped up in that subscription, right?
Yeah.
And anytime that subscription gets compromised, we either gonna break it off, cancel the subscription. I ain't doing this no more. Shit's over. Whatever. But the bottom line is, and DMX said this before he passed on Drink Champs, and he said he learned in life that I trust people to be who they are, not what I want them to be. If I got a crackhead cousin and he's a
True.
crackhead, I love
True.
him dearly, but I trust and believe that he's gonna do crackhead shit. So I know how to deal with him.
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
I know where to
that
place
all
him.
the time.
Yeah, I know where to place him. I know not to leave my shit around. I know not to leave,
Right.
But that don't change the fact that I'm not gonna
You
deal
know,
with this
yeah.
person and I don't love this person and it's not
Right.
family. I just know the format.
Dre,
Right.
I
He
say
said,
that all the
I
time.
trust them to be who they are.
Right.
And if
And you can
we
deal with them. You can coexist with them.
Yeah.
You trust them to be who they are. And they actually know that you know who they are, so they won't even take you to that extreme anyway. When people know
some
that
might.
you're well aware of
some
who they
will,
are,
yeah,
they
some
don't
will.
come at you. No, I'm saying, no. I'm talking about the ones that you know, like the ones that you've been around for a long time.
No,
The things that
they might.
they know not to come at you with certain things because they know you ain't going for it. You know what I'm saying? Like some people know not to come at you with certain shit if they know you. If they don't know you, that's different. They'll find out later on.
for years, for years, when I tell you years, I always say that. Like, it's like I would use it to say, like, I don't have problems with people, or I sometimes I would even teach my son, like, why are you getting upset with a person because they lied? Like, if you know the person's a liar, you still love them the same. You just deal with them like you would deal with a liar. Most
Exactly.
of the time they tell you a story. It's not, for years I say this: a liar,
Exactly.
a thief,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, you just meet people, like, you just, like,
Play
if
with
they're
it
in your
and
life,
don't
you
take it
just
to the heart. Yeah, you just don't
you
sign
accept
the
them for
contract.
what they are.
You know?
Like, it is what it is. Like, you accept them. Now,
Yeah.
if you have a thief and you treat them like they're not a thief, then I mean the consequences is
Now,
And it's not
but you can't
the
hold up.
thief's fault. It's not the thief's fault.
no,
It's your fault for not being mindful of who they
exactly,
are. And you had an
exactly,
expectation on that. Expecting
exactly.
them to
Now,
be other than what they are.
I said
now
this
you
for
remember when we
years. Oh
had a
my god.
conversation about this before, like if a person had a bad record of stealing and all this kind of stuff, and they can't get a job or something because of their past is about doing criminal shit and all that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like nobody's gonna hire. I don't care. I'm not gonna take a chance to hire somebody that's known as a thief to work around my money or anything like that. I'm just not doing it. I don't care. You set that path for yourself. Even if you not even that person anymore, I'm not gonna leave my business vulnerable to your ass. That's just basically how it is. I'm not gonna trust you on that level. I mean, I respect you, but I just can't take that chance since you showed me that you are able to do that in the past. You showed me that you are capable. Put it that way. The capability is where it all lies.
Aren't we all capable?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but when somebody puts it on
No,
a
I get what
line
you're
and
saying. I get what you're
they,
saying.
they
And I
actually
agree.
did it. Yeah,
I
I'm like,
agree.
yo, I ain't gonna leave you around $1 billion and think you're
Right.
gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm just not doing it, man. It's like I don't care if you change or not. I'm just not doing it. I don't want to put us in a bad situation because your past is kind of coming up on me now, and with what I'm trying to do, I just can't put you in that situation with me because I don't want to have to put us on,
Yeah.
that enemy. I don't want to have to look at you because I am gonna look at you if something disappears.
But
It
see,
is.
but see that decision is a mindful decision, and you've taken everything into consideration to come to that conclusion.
Right.
So we don't do that when in our relationships. We're not doing that. It's
Right.
just built. It's built all wrong. But I'm not gonna say it was built all wrong. It's just time to evolve. Let's just say that. Dave, let me see. Dave said something. As we
Dave said a
grow,
lot.
yeah, Dave
I
said,
miss Dave in the background.
we're going to have to get Dave back on. As we grow and evolve, at least for some of us, the idea of expectation falls flat in the face of reality. True. Because as long as you are open to the idea of living and being on a journey, you will accept whatever comes your way and learn not to expect so much. True. That is a
Right.
1,000 times true, and that's exactly what I'm saying, and that's close to what my one of my spiritual teachers used to always say. He used to always say that we are struggling souls on a spiritual journey, and we're trying to figure this thing out that we call existence. So you cannot condemn someone on the same journey as yourself because they trying to figure it out, you trying to figure it out. So when you have shortcomings or challenges, my job is not to throw you away because I'm in the
Right.
same boat as you. But you have to have understanding and empathy to try to figure it out and move forward.
Right.
So that was a good point, Dave. Dave also said something else. That's absolutely right. Once you accept people for who they are and what they are, your expectations will be realistic and you will not expect so much from them. True.
Very
True.
true.
So true. So the
You
concept
should
of trust.
yourself like that.
What you say?
I said people just should not expect people to accept certain things from them when they know they have a history of certain things. Like you just, I mean, some people will. There are people out there that will take a chance with you, but that's a big bar. I mean, that's a big gamble. But at the same time, there are, but it's not wrong to make that kind of judgment at when a person left it on a table like that anyway. So that's not a bad judgment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not a
This
bad
is
thing.
one of the reasons, or well, this is one of the foundations of what my teacher calls the spiritual journey, is because as you're on it, the goal is enlightenment, right? And you're not really supposed to have supreme attachment to a lot of things, because attachment, and it's kind of how Yoda said in Star Wars when he told, when they did the Star Wars where they went back when they were younger, and
Right.
he was talking about Darth Vader, but I think he was like Anakin at the time. Was he
Right.
Anakin? He was young, but he was talking to another Jedi Knight, and he told him, he said, "Fear of loss is the quickest path to the dark side," which is true. So when you have attachments to shit, your fear of losing it creates a dynamic where there's no telling what you will do to keep it.
And that's kind of like getting the stab. To be honest with you, when you attach them, you're it's kind of like
That's a
going
good
to
example.
Yeah, that is a good example.
That's
You know
a
what I
good
mean?
example,
That is really a good example.
because
So
people's fear of loss sent them straight to a very dark
dark,
situation. Yeah.
yeah.
You know
But
what? This
go ahead.
actually confirms a lot for me, because that's another thing that I would say. Like I like to feel like, yeah, I'm not attached to anything. Like I'll it's funny because like I'll say to my children sometimes, like if it's like, oh, who scratched my car? And it's like, it's a car, it's outside. Like somebody could steal it and you won't have one. Like
That's
Yeah.
hard to tell a man,
it's a
though.
house, it
That's
could
hard to
burn
tell a man.
down.
You
You
know,
know what I
that
mean?
charge
Like it's
about
just,
it.
Yeah. You kind of roll with the organicness of life and how things unfold. And I
yeah.
get it. Yeah, it makes sense to me, cuz I'm kind of the same way. I just want to be like right. Just whatever makes the situation better, let's just focus on that, cuz all that other stuff, you're going to waste a lot of time and energy going back and forth about some shit that ain't going to amount to a hill of beans.
And you
So
might even bury yourself even deeper.
it,
So
it, it
yeah,
is what it is.
I
It is
care
what it is.
about the things that need that well, I mean, for everybody it's different, but I care about the things that should be cared about, like,
Yeah, yeah.
love and well, like, morals
What's
and those character and those type
yeah.
of things. However, like everything else, like I really don't think I care enough to be honest. And it frustrates some people, but I really don't think I care enough. Like where it's like, okay, like,
Yeah.
believe me, I'm worse than you. I have issues.
I'm sure.
I trained myself not to get attached. You know, I mean, I got to the point where I want to be attached just a little bit because I kind of darkened myself a little bit with that. You know, like so that's we got to find a balance and all that. You just got to find a
Balance.
balance. You got to exist in this world as if you love it, and you also got to see things in a simple way, and not be so attached. So it's a lot that comes with that. It's a lot.
Simplicity. There's
Yeah,
so much beauty in simplicity. Like,
simplicity.
And
Yep.
some people's programming is they don't want to keep things simple. They
I know.
want to complicated.
We
They
were
don't
taught
want to,
that.
yeah, they don't want to keep things
yeah,
simple.
I think
We were
it's
taught
because
to
we're
look
conditioned, I
at
guess.
we
Yeah.
were taught to look at life as something complicated. We were taught to look at obstacles to be complicated instead of challenging and being, trying to get that reward out of that, that challenge, and usually it's a simple approach. It's
Simple.
not
It's
as hard
always
as you
simple.
think. You know what I mean? Like building a house is a simple approach without without using all the directions. You know what I mean? Like it's almost all the stuff you got to do to build a house or whatever you're trying to do. If you just look at it simply, it's just something you could probably put together with no problem your way. You know what I mean? So it's like we just
So
make
so
comp-
so so is it safe to say our concept of trust is an illusion?
Yeah.
Partly I want to say yes, and then partly I'm like, because I get that, like, that's
That's-
something that's been like embedded in us
Yeah, we were
to
taught to trust,
trust, and
to
then
be
we pick and
content.
choose because, like, the whole building thing, like, you walk into a building and or you get in a car and trust that
But
the
the thing
steering
is,
wheel is gonna,
if you push
and
it
and
on,
like,
and
take
the
you where you.
reality of that those scenarios is people do trust and walk in and get in and shit happens for real
right.
in real
That's
life.
that's very true.
So what does that do to your concept of trust? Is it an illusion, or is it, or do we just change the
It's called
program? Do we change the
respect.
I
program?
think the
Respecting
program.
that.
I think the
It's called
program.
respecting a situation. Most situations, you can't always rely on every outside resource. You know what I mean? You got to trust
But
you.
we
So
do. But
and I'm
but
just saying,
we
but
literally do.
it's a lot of things that you don't have to put trust on, and I think that's the key thing. Is like you don't have to put trust on somebody because you got to put them. It's like you basically got to mirror yourself when it comes down to trust. You basically got to mirror yourself. Like even if I tried to be faithful or trustful to this person, I'm not perfect either. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so it's like you kind of got to look at things in that perspective. Like, you want to see what's in you in order to see it in somebody else. Like, okay, no matter how hard, I mean, you can try to be trustful to somebody. You can be there for them, and then one day you come up short or something that you just can't do, and they trusted you to
But
do it.
that only puts the responsibility ultimately in the relationship or whatever on you. And that's the
Yeah,
only thing that I can trust is me because I
right,
know me. I trust me to be me.
right.
I can't
You're
put that
right.
on anybody else.
Exactly. That's a sin when you because it actually creates a sin in your life when you put that energy on somebody else to do something, whatever it is that you trusted them to do, and it didn't get done, and it put you in a bad situation. You actually throwing the sins on yourself from actually putting that energy into another individual or anybody else. I mean, it's okay to trust and have people, whatever it is, but at the same time, you got to be well aware and have a respectful understanding that that person can fail. You know what I mean? So that's the part where
I think they
you
can
not
only
farm,
I
you're
think they can
prepared.
only I think they can only fail if you've put some
Expectation.
sort of expectation or stipulation on or condition on. That's the only way they can fail.
Right.
I think if going forward, just evolving, I think we should, in my opinion, develop relationships where we evolve and we unfold in the moment. And whatever arises that may look funny to you or make you feel weird or make you happy, whatever it is that unfolds, I think you guys should have a meeting of the minds of it and sit down and discuss, okay, why did you feel that way? Or why did you say that? Because I think you can come to a better understanding of each other in your method of operation, in your psychology, if you unfold and examine the unfoldment, examine the experience. But if you got a stipulation on it, as soon as that shit rear its head, it's like, oh no, I ain't gonna deal with this shit. No, hell no. I mean, common sense. There's some things you just self-preservation rule number one. Never put
Right.
yourself in harm's way. Don't be
Right.
less we're not gonna be goofy. He punched me in the eye. Let me see where that came from.
So it's also like,
Why'd you do that? No, I ain't talking about that. But I'm saying, nah, you gotta be very practical about this shit.
Right.
you just gotta like
Oh
sometimes
my
if it's something
god.
that you do, sometimes just you gotta sometimes just step forward because a lot of us, like even at work, you trust somebody to prepare something for you, and you'll leave that, like for instance, a truck driver, for instance, you got men in the yard that usually make sure the trucks are filled or this and that or do some maintenance on it, whatever need to be done and stuff like that. So you don't even really bother to even make sure that they're gonna get on it. You just like, oh, the mechanic's gonna handle that. And you walk away and you trusted that the mechanic was gonna do that. Then you get get there early, like 2 in the morning, and nothing was done, and then you sit back for 5 hours, and you're supposed to be at your location at a certain time because nothing was done. So that's kind of the same thing. Like you just can't depend on.
Wouldn't
people.
that be a subscription though? Isn't that some shit you signed up for?
Yeah.
Isn't that something that they signed? They signed up for the same shit.
Yeah.
They signed up to do that job. You signed up for that job to be done. So my thing in that situation, it would probably be best for you to check behind them to make sure they do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that's that's how you should be when it comes down to like, when you make sure like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it right. I'm gonna do it myself. Sometimes you can just do it yourself.
At least you know it's done. At least you know it's done.
You know what I mean? You're like, yo, I'm gonna just hurry up and put some fuel in this thing and everything and then go home instead of thinking the mechanic gonna do it or something like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like that's how we kind of, from being really just being a little bit like procrastinating and being a little lazy, kind of create bad situation for us because we expect somebody to pick up that shit for us.
Yeah,
because that's their job, but we also lazy because that's their job.
Who's somebody TV's up. Something's playing in the background.
That's my daughter. Turn that, boo.
Oh,
turn out. You're supposed to be asleep.
Parenting expectations. See, expect her to be asleep. She's like, hell no, I'm up.
Was watching I Am Legend, so she was into I Am. We watching I Am Legend. You know what I mean? So the dog just got bit by the whatchamacallit. We turned it off.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that again too. What Jay? What you was gonna say something?
I was gonna say something. I was just gonna say I Am Legend. I need to watch that. But I've been watching 300. That's my favorite.
I'm watching that too. I'm thinking about watching that tonight. I was thinking about watching that too.
Gosh, I've watched that movie 100. That is like my
that's the
my
movie, man. That's the most testosterone you can ever have in you. That man would make you ready to.
That's the best movie of all time. 300.
Yep, he the best actor for that for Leonidas too. His attitude is straight raw, dog. Yo, that cat got the I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna definitely gotta watch that though. Yeah,
and
his attitude.
Anybody that knows me. They know that is like my favorite movie. When I saw it on Netflix the other day, I was like, "That's it." I was watching that. I watched it like 5 times.
You can't tell that man nothing. Mm-mm. That man straight up like there ain't gonna be anything going on in this house, man.
Yeah.
And he accepted his fate based on going to glory to achieve his objective. Like, okay, if this is how I'm going out, then let's do it.
Left everybody behind, man. Left everybody. His word is his word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good principles to live by.
My favorite part is when he says, give them nothing but take from them everything. Like, yes, that movie is that is my movie. Anyway, what was I gonna say? I don't even remember at this point.
That's all I got to say, man. I gotta watch that again myself, man.
Yeah, watch it. I might watch it tonight too.
We was laughing, man. Deacon and was down here talking about that movie, man. Every little part, man. That dude testosterone levels was up there, bro. I tell you, man.
I love that movie.
A lot of testosterone in that movie, man.
Yeah,
I love that movie. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't even at this point. I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
300.
Man.
So we gonna keep it short. We're at an hour right now. Unless y'all want to keep going, but
I think hours good, brother.
Yeah, Dave. What Dave say? 300. Yep.
Man, watch that too. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna actually watch that when we get off. I ain't even gonna watch I Am Legend. I'm gonna watch 300.
A good movie to watch. It's on HBO Max. Raised by Wolves. You need to check that out.
I can't do that one right now. I don't got that.
I think I saw that in the little thing that came up when I was on. Was that Hulu?
Yeah, something happens to the Earth, and they got to put life back. It's in the future, but it's good. It's good.
All of the movies lately are. Yeah. They have the same type of
narrative, but different, but still, but surrounded in the same narrative, like what's going on with the Earth and all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah, it's about to go down. We're gonna see
300. It. You ever see the 100 on Netflix?
No, I know. I keep telling you that I was gonna watch it, but I never watched it.
What is it
Nah.
called? The 100?
Yeah, it's crazy. You'll get addicted to that. There's so many different seasons, but yeah,
Oh, it's a series?
it's a
Yeah.
series. It's long. It's a lot.
Oh.
But in a nutshell, something happened. There was like no artificial intelligence, like Skynet, went rogue and launched all the nuclear missiles and blew up the Earth. Right? Not didn't blow up the Earth, but you know when nukes go off, the land on Earth, it takes 100 years for the land to kind of cycle back around to be inhabitable from the radiation. So nothing
Right.
can live. But scientists and all the smart people and all the rich people, blah blah blah, they got into spacecraft and they was in a space station orbiting the Earth for like 100 years. And what happened was they sent down 100. I don't want to say convicts, but just badasses who grew up on a space station, young kids, and they sent 100 of them down to Earth to see if it was inhabitable because they were tired of living in space, so they wanted to come back to Earth. And they sent 100 of them down, but when they got down there, the planet was changed, but there were people that survived that, and life as you know it was gone, and there were different tribes and different things that evolved from that, and they came in contact. They call them sky beings because they came from the sky. But 300 is the bomb. It truly is. But AI caused the whole shit. Artificial intelligence.
That's what they're doing now, though, man. It's like, man, they specialize. Everything is in artificial intelligence right now. Look like that's where the world trying to go. To artificial, everything is like being computerized, and it just seems like a real boring world to me, man. Look like they're trying to make machines to do everything now. We just dialing in numbers and just making sure the machines work right. I don't see the point though. But
There was
whatever.
one weird scenario in the show. There's a black guy. The guy used to play on Grey's Anatomy that got kicked off. What's his name? He got kicked off Grey's Anatomy. You know what I'm talking about. Well, artificial intelligence is a whole personality. It's like a being. That's just how powerful it is now. And it created this program where it attaches something to the back of your head and takes over your consciousness. It sends your consciousness to another dimension where you live in this world, kind of like a matrix, and everything's perfect and you're happy, blah, blah, blah. But your body is still in the other world, and he's going around asking people or recruiting people to give up their consciousness to go live in another reality, and their bodies become almost like zombies or controlled by AI on this side of things. All of this shit's going on.
That's what they're doing on
100.
Facebook, right? I mean, that's what they're trying to do anyway, right?
With the metaverse.
Metaverse.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beginning. You know what I'm saying? That's just the beginning. You know, when we see little stuff like that, that's just the beginning before we really start getting into that stuff. What you
And
talking about?
technically, metaverse is almost like
Surrogates.
like a
Surrogates.
virtual. It is like surrogates, but it's like a virtual reality inside a reality. I mean,
Virtual-
inside of virtual, inside of a. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, this is a reality, and virtual reality is inside of this reality. Well,
that's what I'm trying to say. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like not just once, like going into the. It's like
Because
you're
this is
already in
technically
one.
virtual.
That's what I'm saying. You're already in one, and then you're going in another, like
Yeah.
to go into another.
Their body is going to be used as energy.
Surrogates is the best movie, man, to
Dude
That's
said-
the best
explain
movie
that.
to explain
Yo.
the metaverse and everything
Yeah,
else.
Surrogates is it. But
Yeah.
but because I watched it a couple weeks ago. But they had whole androids living your life, Like there was dudes who wanted to live as females, so their avatar was a female, and that shit went to work for you and did everything, and you was home in bed with some goggles on, hooked up to a machine. You never left your house. You had people that were fat, unhealthy. They just didn't leave. They were just hooked up to a machine.
But it's so
But the
funny
only
because
difference
they
is I
actually
believe that
have those avatars
your
already.
body is
Like,
going to be used as a battery
Alter-
store.
Altered Carbon is another show on Netflix that has those.
Yeah, I never watched
I
that
think I
all the way
watched
through, man.
that.
There's so much
Yeah.
stuff that come on, man. You get lost. Like when you try to watch something on Netflix, then you end up watching something else, then you end up watching something else, and you never get back to a lot of shit.
Yeah, I stick with what I if I start something that's really good, I stick with it till it's done.
It's best that you watch them all the way through, too, episode by episode. Because if you try to do that here and there stuff, you would never ever finish. You'll be
what's
watching
good is that Black Mirror one episode.
You've seen that I don't even want to
I
talk
think they
about.
stopped. I think they stopped making Black Mirror because everything
It's
was
free.
in there.
Everything. If
Yeah.
you watch Black Mirror, I'm telling you, Black Mirror put if you're open and you understand,
And
like
put it all in there.
they
So-
put it.
You can never say you don't know
you
because we
cannot say
process it as entertainment, but that's the catch. As long as you look at it as entertainment, you'll never get it.
You'll
And
never
you can
get
never
it.
say well, I didn't know, because this is how you bypass karma. When it's presented before you,
Right.
regardless of how it gets to you, it's your job to decipher if it's true or not.
And
And as long as you pass, and as long as you pass it off as entertainment, then that's not their fault.
we showed you. Like,
Yeah, I told you what I was going to do to you,
Right,
and you
right.
let me do it.
Right now. With the with all this all this stuff coming out now, with everything that's kind of relative to what's going on now, all these shows they showing you.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting conversation. I think a consensus of the night: trust as we know it. I think it needs to be upgraded. I think the word
Upgraded.
needs to be upgraded. I think it is a concept that has been passed down. In a nutshell, I think it's an illusion because it leaves out the fact that we live in a realm of infinite possibility. And with that being said, if it can happen, it will happen at some point. So you can't live in a bubble, and you can't put unrealistic expectations on a person who has free will. And that's something that the Creator gave us. We have free will to do whatever at any point in time. The thing is, you do have the right to say, if you want to interact with a person's free will, you do have the choice to say, I'm going to remove myself from your subscription. But at the same time, I think in order for us to be able to coexist in a more harmonious fashion going forward, there's just certain things that we have to factor in as people, their personalities, their karma, their hardwiring, things they picked up along the way, and they are who they are. And we have to be at peace with that if you want to share some sort of universe with them.
Right.
And with that being said, I think people would go a lot further. Because I think once your vibration changes, you don't have to really verbally say you're not going to do X, Y, and Z, or you're not going to be with X, Y, and Z, or you're not going to work at X, Y, and Z. When your vibration increases, those things just kind of fall away without you having to put too much work into it.
So true.
And then you will attract things that are on that new frequency. You will pull those things in. And that's how that works. So you just, you play it out. But that's me talking. That's a person who's aware, call it what you want, enlightened personality. This is how I operate. But yeah, I think we just got a new beginning, and we got to do new things and be proactive about how we get down. So y'all want to add anything before we close?
Yeah. Hop skanibs skanabs. Hop hips. What is it? Hop skanibs skanabs. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, brother? What's the movie? What's the movie? Your mother's cooking your favorite dinner. Hot snapskinabs.
It was an alien. I know
Yep.
that. Were they at camp? Summer camp or some
Yeah,
shit?
space meatballs. I think it was meatballs.
Yeah.
Meatballs. Like your
Yeah. That was
hot
meatball.
snapskinabs.
That's that 80s stuff.
Oh,
Crazy.
Right. Man, I'm proud that you actually remembered that. Okay.
Oh yeah, man. I remember a lot of stuff from the 80s, man. A lot of stuff from the 80s.
Remember that, Joanna? No. See? It's hard to find people that remember certain things like that, man. Those movies, man.
All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down. I'm your host, Brother Mordeeb, with my co-host, Sister J and DCR. This is another show, Brainwashed on Heavy. We try to come with content that, provokes the mind to think a little bit deeper, and a lot more controversial topics that people typically don't want to discuss or don't have the platform to discuss, and we try to cover those parameters. On that note, everybody be safe out here and stay woke, and peace.